Wow, Tom, it's the first time I've ever been in the ballroom and not seen those chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. Where have they gone?
Well, before Christmas, we had to spend about 3 weeks with a big team of conservators to take them down carefully into the many, many different pieces that they come apart into, pack them up and take them to secure storage during the project. And it's not just being stored, actually, it's a chance to really look at the details of the chandeliers and where there have been historic repairs. Some of those are starting to fail. So we're using this opportunity to do a big conservation project for the chandeliers and make sure they're fit for the future.
Well, they certainly have been some of the big stars of the show. But look, they're not going to be rehung until 2027. Next week, you hand this place over to your contractors. What sort of a job faces them? What are we talking about in terms of restoration and renovation?
So it's a really key moment in the history of the assembly rooms, this next phase of the project. We are undertaking a huge project here to restore and renovate the building, and that involves things like replacing the floor in this ballroom and also in the tea room and in the corridor. These floors were put in when the building was restored after the Second World War, and they're quite worn now, but also the width of the boards isn't really historically accurate. So we're going to be replacing the floor here with timber that's been felled from National Trust estates in Hampshire, which are trees that we would need to fell anyway. And we're really delighted to be able to have new boards coming in this space. But right across the building, we're undertaking a once-in-a-generation or multi-generation project. So we're rewiring the building. The wiring dates from the 60s, some of it. We're going to be taking the building off gas central heating and installing air source heat pumps. We're going to be introducing a new lift that will give access to all floors in the assembly rooms for the first time, and a new staircase. And then on top of all of those works, also to conserve and look after the building, so redecorating, works to the roof, etc. We will also be installing a new experience in the building that will be there for visitors during the day, and the building will continue to sing and be a place for assembly, for concerts, for balls in the evenings.
How different is it going to look? I mean, the space below us where the fashion museum once was, what are you doing down there?
So over the past couple of years, we've actually been stripping back that space to reveal how much of the original building still survives and also understand what was done in the post-war restoration. And downstairs, actually at the end of the ballroom, underneath there is where the cold bath is, which we've been able to uncover. We've also been able to uncover the vaults under the Great Octagon, which we think are spaces that survived the bombing in 1942. So very evocative spaces. But in that space is where we're going to be introducing visitors to the Georgian city, who maybe don't know so much about Georgian Bath when they come here for the first time. And you'll be welcomed by a Master of Ceremonies, a virtual Master of Ceremonies, who will introduce the ball to you as well. And you'll meet a cast of characters that are based on the research we've been doing over the past couple of years and ongoing into the people who came here. But we're creating a kind of a night at the ball that is almost, these characters are composites of people who actually came here. So when you then experience coming around these rooms, having met them downstairs, you'll have this amazing night at the ball and you'll meet the milliner or the debutante or the musician or the property developer, and you'll understand their kind of aspirations of what they're trying to achieve through their experience in Bath and whether or not those are achieved or thwarted at the ball. So that's the idea. You kind of introduce people downstairs and then you come and walk around the space as it would have been at night and have your own experience of a Georgian ball.
So very much using new technology here.
Absolutely, and the experience will actually culminate in the ballroom, and we're looking at using projections right across this side of the ballroom and on the walls around, so that you'll have the dance happening all around you, and also an opportunity right at the end perhaps to kind of zoom out and see other parts of Bath, maybe a kind of firework display at Sydney Gardens that will kind of be the culmination. This is something we're working on, so we haven't got the final script and details, but we want this to feel truly immersive in this space.
Do you know, Tom, you're so enthusiastic. I pictured you there dressed as the Master of Ceremonies, doing the job yourself.
Well, maybe for special occasions, you never know.
Now, it's a grand scheme, but who's paying for it?
So we have funding secured up to a certain point. That's a mixture of some funding that the National Trust is able to put in from our central reserves, but also money that we're able to essentially centrally we're borrowing in order to pay for this, and then it will pay back over time. We do have quite a challenging fundraising target of £3.2 million to get to where we need to. And of that, we've raised about 2.4 already in pledges, so we're doing really, really well with lots of support from key donors, but also American supporters as well who are supporting this project. But we've recently launched the Luminaries, which is a chance for people locally to get involved. To join the Luminaries costs £250, and that goes directly to supporting this project. And I really like the idea because it relates back to how this building was built in the first place, by subscription. So people putting money in order to create something for the community. And for the £250, you become a member of the Luminaries. You'll have your name inscribed in the Luminaries book, which is like the subscription book that's currently at the Record Office. And I hope that maybe in 250 years' time, that the Luminaries book might sit alongside the original subscribers in our archives. But you'll also get regular updates on the project throughout the process so that you'll feel really close to it. And of course, get your ticket to the ball when we reopen.
You're talking loosely about 2027.
Yeah.
The end of, middle of?
We're aiming towards the start of, but without,
Wow.
Spring, let's say spring 27 is what we're aiming for. Of course, when you start a big capital project, you never quite know what you might find during the process. However, because we've been able to do a lot of work beforehand to strip out the lower floors, we're hoping we won't have too many unexpected finds as we proceed.
Fingers crossed. Will National Trust members still have free entry when all of this is done?
Yes, so we're looking at how we manage that, and we're thinking that National Trust members will have free entry, but it will be paid for otherwise. But we're exploring that because it's a different model to how we work in most of our other places. We normally members would have free admission when it's a place that has historic collection, and this is creating a whole experience. So there are times when there have been charges. So, for example, if you come to a big light show at Stourhead, for example, then members do pay for that. But at the moment, the plan is for free admission, but that's something we have to keep under review because it's obviously it's a big investment here for us.
Do I take it you can put your feet up now for a couple of years?
Not quite, no. I mean, there's a lot of work still to go on as the construction work is happening, working through the details of what the future experience will look like. Obviously, we need to get ready to launch the experience here as well, and we will be recruiting a whole new team for this, so that's going to be coming probably next year in order to run the experience here. So there's a lot to do, and there's a busy rest of the portfolio that I manage as well, but it's a very exciting time for the team.
Well, I was going to give you the opportunity there of pointing out that you don't just look after this place, you've got Prior Park Gardens, you've got Durham.
Yes, so within my patch, if you like, there's Prior Park Landscape Gardens, there's Bathampton Meadows, which is a very exciting project over there as well, and working very closely with local community around what we might do there to improve the land for nature and for people to access the land. But then Durham Park as well, and of course the Bath skyline. So there's plenty to keep me busy over the next couple of years.
Tom, my fingers are well and truly crossed for you, and I'm very excited, as I'm sure you are.
Really, really exciting. As I say, it's such a key moment in the history of this building, the start of this next phase of its life. So yes, really excited.